hand it over to Gamzee, and you can take it from there.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me see. You guys can hear me, right? I don't know why I'm seeing Jackie on my screen.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, and you can see me.
I will pin you.
Okay, perfect. So thanks a lot for the introductions. I think we have a little bit of limited time. I thought I was going to have more time, so I prepared a lot of things to talk about, but I will try to, focus on more practical implications that faculty members or participants today can take away and start implementing in their own work or teaching or learning. I've been, as Jackie mentioned, I've been a big enthusiast about trying different things in my teaching. I study also pedagogical innovations in class, so AI has been kind of like a natural extension of that for me. So I started to learn more about, how I can use AI, but it started also with familiarizing myself with, AI tools. So this is a framework I kind of use to bring AI into my life and work. If you are very new to this area and you want to read one book, this is the one, I think. It's a good starter pack for AI. It's by Ethan Malik, who's kind of a pioneer in the field of AI in the context of higher ed. And these are some of the principles I try to use in my own classes and kind of instill these in my students too. So always inviting AI to the table pretty much refers to experimenting with AI, trying it for different things, learning its capabilities and limitations. Principle two, being the human in the loop, is about bringing your own human experience and oversight, as well as your knowledge base and expertise to critically evaluate AI outputs, or like when we work with AI as a co-intelligence, kind of like integrate our own experiences and values. The third principle is treating AI like a person, even though there are a lot of ethical considerations about associating technologies with human-like characteristics. This is kind of, I think, like an analogy here, so that we can instruct or prompt AI effectively, but it pretty much boils down to using effective prompting strategies or giving instructions to a collaborator or like an intern he uses in his book. And the last one is assuming that the AI tools that we're using today is the worst ones we're ever going to use. So that I think this refers to cultivating this adaptive mindset and being able to build an AI strategy that we can transfer to different tools or different capabilities in the future. So some of the common issues, I think there's so many issues, but the things that are most relevant within this, context today's talk, or like our participants, will be academic integrity issues. I think, can we unmute I hear some background noise anyways.
I'm muting them.
So there are academic integrity issues, and these are real issues because now that AI is so accessible for students, it's very likely that they will use it to complete their, coursework or assignments or even exams. So it's a big disruption to how we do assessments or how we teach the material in not only higher ed, but earlier in the educational system too. And there is this fear of over-relying on AI and becoming so dependent that we or students start losing these critical thinking or creative thinking skills that they can't, work independently. And there are then equity and access issues, because even though AI tools are widely available, there is definitely this issue about being, able to pay for a tool that is performing better than others and having access to it. So these are real issues. And then there are more technical, more system level issues about data privacy. We don't really know how these AI companies are using our data, how they're making sure it's safe, or whether they're using our data for training their for their training their models. And finally, the training data is unfortunately flawed or not perfect because it comes from the society. I think a lot of the text or images humans, created, and we already know that that's full of like stereotypes and biases. So another question we want to ask it when we work with outputs from these tools, is this the kind of like world we want to expose our students to, while we're actually fighting kind of like getting rid of those disparities and biases in our real lives. So these are serious issues. And I think some of them we can address maybe at an individual level or institutional level. Some of them are, I think, a little bit more difficult to deal with, like data security or bias. That is the responsibility of the companies. But I want to share some like practical strategies for effectively integrating AI into your classes and how I'm doing it. So I think the most important thing is like having conversations like today. We need to really train ourselves to become AI literate, which means we need to learn about the capabilities of and limitations of AI. And we can only do that if we use these tools. We can't assume or we can't deny that no matter how much we dislike them, or some people may do, they're not going to go away. And it's better to educate ourselves so that we can be more critical in our uses. I don't think it's a healthy approach to adopt AI tools without questioning, their limitations. I think a healthy approach, an effective approach, is to be skeptical, but also curious about their uses and benefits. Again, I will put effective prompting skills here. So if we learn as faculty members how to use AIs or how to craft effective prompts, we can also teach this to our students. We need to educate ourselves about ethical considerations and how we can address these things in our own curriculum or teaching practices. And finally, critical skills, like that is the focus of education. We are already trying to teach our students how to become critical consumers of information, and how do we translate that skill to, evaluations of AI output. So I shared some sources here. Jackie will, I think, share them in the chat. When I was like losing sleep over this at night, and I was like, what am I gonna do when the semester starts? Or, I started to putting together a resource hub because I felt like there were no resources out there. So I created this AI for higher ed project. So I put a lot of resources from credible sources. I also share my own experiments. So I hope you guys will benefit from it. And if you have any ideas, please send them to me. I will be happy to share them there so that, we can, as a community, talk about what's working, what's not working, because there's really not a manual how to use these things. No one knows anything. Everyone is trying to learn as they go. But there are some best practices that we can share with each other. The other tool is, again, by Ethan Malik and his partner, Lilac Malik, who's a, educational instructional designer. They have these playlists, YouTube videos. They talk about practical AI for instructors and students. I really highly recommend you guys to watch that playlist. It's really informative, and there are a lot of actionable, feedback that you can use today. So how am I doing with time? I know. Okay, so these are some of the things I do in my own classes, and I think there are a lot of ideas here that you can take and then implement them in your own fields or in your courses. So I'm going to share 3-4 things I do, how I integrate, AI. I change some of my collaborative projects where students used to work with one another or individually. I created, for example, for intercultural comm class, a co-design project. So in this project, students collaborate with ChatGPT to create an intercultural training game. So again, how am I implementing the principles here? I'm having students experiment with AI. And I'm also teaching them prompting skills by working with AI here. But one of the important parts of any of these assignments should be the critical reflection part, where students are asked to integrate course material, concepts, theories into the AI output, synthesize it, and then submit that as their work. So they're never asked or incentivized to use raw AI output, but they have to show a record of how they enhance the AI output. That's where the critical reflection or critical thinking skills come into play. Another example is using experiential AI enhanced assignment. I revised several of my traditional, activities, for example, in my research methods course, where I used to ask students to use Google Scholar to find communication theories so that they can advance a theoretical significance statement or social significance statement. Now, I encourage them to work with AI enhanced research tools like Perplexity, Elicit. So they have to know how to navigate these tools using effective prompting. And again, in their critical reflections, they need to discuss how the AI helped them in this research process and be able to discuss some of the limitations or biases that they observed. In my information tech and human comm class, this is a little bit easier because the focus is already on technology and AI. But I think the way you can apply this to your own classes, for example, if you're teaching a history course or anthropology or sociology, you can take any theory and concept and ask students to work with AI to create a lesson plan or a teaching module for this specific theory or concept, and teach it to, for example, middle school students. And here again, they need to practice effective prompting. They need to integrate, course materials and critically analyze the AI limitations and capabilities. One other cool thing I am gonna try out this semester is using AI as a mentor or tutor. I don't believe that AI is gonna replace professors, the main goal of the professors, but I think they can really help us, help our students learn, complex material, or make sure that double check their comprehension. For example, again, Ethan Malik had created this role-playing prompt for negotiation class, but I revised that role-playing prompt and I made it an exam review tutor for the students. So I'm going to have students use AI to kind of, prepare them for the exam. So this is another cool thing you can do. I think it's really important that we integrate formative and summative assessments. You may hear from a lot of EdTech people or instructional designers who make incredibly meaningful contributions to our work as faculty members. But I also know the operational load of simply assessing students based on the formative, tools. So I will say that it's important to have these experiential projects and assignments along with critical reflections, but also it may be a good time to go back to the basics and start to do more in-person exams. I'm teaching hybrid, like research methods course, which makes it harder to apply some of the AI enhanced teaching practices. But this semester I'm doing in-class exams, which incentivize students not to rely heavily on AI and really learn the material so that they can come to class and do the exam. And also you can try out oral presentations if it's an online course, in addition to, instead of asking, maybe writing an essay or doing a multiple choice exam. Students may need to do these oral exams or oral presentations now, because unfortunately times are changing and AI is here. And if we're giving students these conventional assignments, we're asking them to summarize an event and write an essay, AI can do that for them. So it's important to innovate our own assignments and activities, and to make them either AI resistant or think about more novel ways of incorporating AI into the learning objectives or parts of the assignment. How much more time do I have? I mean, I have stuff, but I want to make sure that we have enough time.
Well, yeah, I think what we will do is pause here. You've given us an awful lot that then
Okay.
folks can pull questions at towards the
Mhm.
end so we can tailor to them.
Okay. Perfect.
And I've put all of her links into the what do we call that? The chat. And
Jackie, one last thing can I share with the faculty? I just wanted to show this, like things they can try out today, just to take one step because it's scary. You know, I know it's overwhelming, but I just wanted to, along with the tools you shared, I think two things they can do. Maybe use an AI tool, LLM, Cloud, ChatGPT, Gemini, whichever they want. Maybe check one assignment they're using currently and have a conversation with AI and ask it to complete the assignment, and then ask it to revise the assignment and ask for more iteration. And the second thing, maybe co-design a new activity with AI to teach one concept from their courses. So these are like two takeaways that are actionable just to do today.
so, as a quintessential professor, she has given us an assignment to do.